That's right, grandson. Yeah. So, we're watching a movie, right? It's called Promising Young Woman. Yeah, it's very popular. Oh, right. Oh, you're mesmerised, aren't you? Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Right, you see on this scene, right, we're Promising Young Woman, right? Yeah. Right, don't give too much away, but, you know, right, yeah, it's scary, I know, it is, it's scary, I know, I know, yeah, but stay awake, right, because this is the bit where he gets a pillow, right, yeah, he gets a pillow and he shoves it over her head, right, yeah, wake up, right, yeah, I told you, it's gonna perk up any moment, nah, I told you, yeah.
Ah, little grandson, it's amazing. The end of the world was coming in 2020 with a killer virus called COVID, they said, 19, right, because it was practically 2019. Anyhow, we all had to stay indoors, but not everyone did, because this was a good opportunity for a British actress called Emerald Fennell to do her first ever movie in America with the producer of Marco Robbie, right, Happy Chappies and Company or something. Yeah, she managed to get her hands on a actress she worked with called Kerry Mulligan. And she did a great performance, as you've been noticing, grandson. And yes, it's come to that bit you just seen just right now. But yeah, don't worry. But it is interesting. Hopefully, as I'm reminiscing about backtracking about the stuff in the 80s. I know you wasn't around when the movie was out, but by heck, it's here to stay now, on late night TV. Well, not that late, because it's still, children's time TV, isn't it? But never mind, interesting stuff what happens in this movie, as we all well know, don't we? It opened a lot of doors for folk back in the heyday. I think all YouTube, where little amateur people could get a camera and make funny songs, like Bo Berman, right? He's in this movie, and he plays a right little creepy little bloody sod in it, right? But obviously, yeah, that's the form of the, he's acting, and obviously, if you ever saw some of his stuff, it applies on them, ladies genitalia or whatever, but obviously, as you know, you've been watching the movie, but yeah, he's like a comedian stand-up, but he does sing his songs and all that lot, and it was quite interesting in that it got him more into fame. I mean, obviously, I know it's a independent movie, and it made a bloody difference, I would say, because we all know he got a bloody Oscar and all that lot, and as you know, he's got your attention, hasn't it, little grandson? Because what's going in and on all that lot, the interviews on this is quite bloody interesting. I mean, there's other actors and stuff and that, but at first, I thought, when I first saw it, seeing these men grinding in nightclub, and it's usually it gets a reputation, these or typical thing when you see something like that. Well, Grandad your granddad thought it was a bloody chick flick movie at the humble beginning, and then he turned it bloody off until it kept on going, and your dad ended up watching it all. Well, he didn't, because unfortunate for your granddad, because he had it on pause. He watched two other films, and he does his YouTube videos, and he does that rendering malarkey on PlayStation, that ancient thing like. and he started watching Promising Young Woman, and he got into it, and the next thing he got to that, the teacher bit, and then after she smashed that pickup truck, it ran out, and he panicked, and next thing he saw bloody ending, you know what I mean? And then, but he still recognised, and the movie, it was called Promising Young Woman, and then he recorded it, and then he finally watched it all. But yeah, it did spoil a little bit, but it was still a good movie, even, it's, but I'll tell you something, grandson, you're honoured, at least you're watching it all the way through, and I told you, I know it's past your bedtime, but by it, lad, it's interesting, isn't it, though, lad? But I should tell you all the history I should about this movie. Well, the best person to do that is actually the bloody director, I think.
Absolutely. I think, well, I first started sort of thinking about it and kind of, I guess I was pitching it by spring kind of 2017, so maybe a couple of years before that. And I guess I thought a lot about the culture that I grew up in, the use of alcohol in kind of hookup culture, the sort of things that had just been completely normalized that were actually incredibly abusive, sort of things that were jokes in movies and TV shows that really weren't funny. So and what usually happens for me is a scene, it will start with a scene, and so the scene that kind of this started from was just a drunk girl lying on a bed. Somebody undresses her kind of drunkenly, saying, "What are you doing?" and then sitting up stone cold sober and saying, "What are you doing?" And that, I think that moment I sort of thought, okay, I think I know what this movie is about, and I think I have an idea of who this woman is.
Quite right. It's quite interesting, that, I would say. To your little grandson, that is some facts, about her generation, and my generation, obviously, it was even more bombarded with so maybe different things, like she said about, drunken ladies and in jokes and movies and that. But yeah, there was a certain type of movie what was very popular as well, it was actually based on a true story, one of them, and it was coming in a franchise, the Death Wish movies. Now, if you're not too sure what the Death Wish movies are, obviously there's a lot of spin-offs when they include a lady in, a female part what goes out for revenge, and there's quite a few of them as well. And obviously Promising Young Woman could be in that category, but there's no bloody comparison at all, I tell you. But you get the impression. I mean, the best one to do is actually put Death Wish the trailer on, and then let you see the other trailers, and you'll see the familiar format that they don't really, just stick to the same subject. And a lot of these movies were coming out, and I think Emerald has picked up on the point that, isn't it good, just use that bit of, that touch of it, and then make it something else. And it's very interesting, Promising Young Woman. But yeah, some people might think it's a revenge movie, and you hear her struggling about, how she describes it as a black comedy, because it is a form of comedy in it, but it's on a very serious subject. But if you look at these revenge movies, technically they might be serious, but by it you do think they're bloody stupid, at least, with your generation, they're just going to totally laugh at them, But yeah, I'll put the trailer of Death Wish on, and you'll get the idea, and then we'll go back to Emerald, because when she first started writing, it was very interesting. So yeah, I think, I'm waiting on too much, I know, but I'm old, little grandson. Death Wish 1 trailer.
Enjoy a typical afternoon in New York City.
Groceries, man. Hey, Mother.
My name is Paul Kersey. How's Mama? I'm sorry. She died a few minutes ago, Mr. Kersey. Any chance of catching these men? First chance, sure. Just a chance. I'd be less than honest if I gave you more hope, Mr. Kersey.
This is Paul Kersey. This is the story of a man who decided to clean up the most violent town in the world.
Listen, turn around. Give me the money.
He begins where all the super cops leave off.
Bugging has gone down by how much, sir?
$9.50 a week to $4.70, you reported last week.
You understand not so many people know that. And, you want to keep it that way, huh?
Oh, no, we have to keep it that way, Inspector.
This whole city would explode.
And if this person is listening to my voice, I urge him in the name of law and order to desist from this one-man crusade and turn himself into the police.
Let's see the money, man.
Call him a mad vigilante. Call him a hero. Either way, he's always on target.
We want you to get out of New York. Permanently.
Never make a death wish. Because a death wish always comes true. And you get to love it.
Ah, little grandson. Ah, gosh, it does look so primitive. That trailer. Hey, I don't know, Emerald, she's thinking about, she never based Promising Young Woman like that, like that grimy, horrible, dingy look, of New York or something, but obviously, they did a remake and made it all brighter with Bruce Willis and all that lot, and here's the trailer for that one and all.
Sway in the morning, Shade 4-5. We gotta talk about what's happening in Chicago. Everybody's watching this viral video of this guy in the hoodie. They're calling the Grim Reaper. He stopped the carjacking. Is he right for taking the law into his own hands? He's become a folk hero.
What about the shooter?
You look like a white dude.
I love my family. When they needed me most.
911, what is your emergency?
There's men, they're breaking into my house. I think they're here. No.
I failed to protect him.
Dad, where's Mom?
The men who did it are out there.
So there's nothing that you can do? Is that what you're saying?
If a man really wants to protect what's his,
I want to buy a gun.
he has to do it for himself.
We're closed, pal. You killed my wife! Who else was there? I don't know anything else.
I believe you, Joe.
You're not gonna kill me.
No. Jack is. You got caught in some crossfire?
The ice cream man didn't.
The ice cream man.
Can't work to school if you don't work for him.
Who were you? Your last customer.
You're not a cop. Somebody has to do it.
You're cocked, locked, and ready to rock.
I'll say.
They called him a guardian angel. He saved my life. You look much better getting out socializing.
Not so much.
Well, whatever you're doing, keep it up.
Okay, I will.
Very quite modern times, I suppose. Never seen it though, grandson, but as we're seeing Kerry Mulligan, as you all know, that we've seen images, that, you know, our acting is completely different if you think of something like Charles Bronson, because, yeah, let's get back to, you know, the second one, you know, not the remake.
It happened once before.
Some muggers followed my wife and daughter home from the market.
It's about to happen again.
The police there got a very good description of the muggers, too. But it didn't do any good.
We do what we can. And so does he.
Is this your daughter, Mr. Kersey? Mr. Kersey, is that Karen?
When murder and rape are the crimes, Bronson is the only punishment. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 2.
There's something else you should know, sir. Paul Kersey now lives in Los Angeles. Oh, my God.
Now you tell me there's a vigilante out there. You believe in Jesus? Yes, I do. Well, you're going to meet him.
He killed 9 people in New York City 4 years ago. The people he killed were muggers. He became a hero. What did he look like?
He was a very good citizen, that's what he was. That guy saved our lives, damn it. Where the hell were you guys, giving out parking tickets?
When violence rules the city, when the police can't stop it, one man will, his way.
Watch out!
Charles Bronson.
Goodbye.
Death Wish 2. He's doing it for you.
So LA was the subject for obviously the sequel, but obviously, you know, with Carey Mulligan in Promising Young Woman, that was done in, you know, LA, as we all know, as you can tell, because a lot of places, you know, and lots of movies, and LA has been filmed and all over the place, and it's more, you know, cost effective, isn't it? But believe it or not, with the third one, they go back to the roots, and you'll realise it's a little bit odd, because technically this is back around my days. I went on TV. It was a big thing for us. It was Death Wish 3 because it was filmed in England, and one of our British stuntmen was left on a bloody building with it burning, and he didn't have to jump off or, you know, into an airbag or anything. No, he had to jump off for real, and obviously he did some very serious damage. Obviously he sued, so yeah, very big major story was Death Wish 3, but full of stunts, and a lot of it, complete lot of it, was on one big set, and yeah, it was done in Pinewood. So yeah, a bit of history there for you, but let's watch the trailer. That might be interesting.
New York, a city pushed to the edge. People pushed to the limit, and no one's got much guts to stop them.
It's election time, Charlie.
3 murders, 4 rapes, 9 acts of random violence.
This isn't a neighborhood. It's a war.
But there is one way. One man who won't be pushed. Charles Bronson.
What's the problem? Why are you gonna die?
It'll be just like before, Mr. Vigilante. There's one important difference. You're gonna work for me.
People have got to start to fight back and hard.
I sent them a message.
That's him.
I'll take care of it.
And now, He's in the middle of a war.
See what you done? You got me mad.
In a world gone mad, there is only one law. His. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 3. Bronson's back in New York, bringing justice to the streets. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 3.
So, a trilogy. No, there's even another one, the fourth one. It's like watching Carey Mulligan, wouldn't it? That would be strange if there was a Promising Young Woman 2 and 3, you know, because it's a trilogy, but then there's got to be a fourth one. So you can see how these revenge movies went, you know, as, you know, they kept on continuing, and obviously the villains have to be, you know, bigger and bigger, and the body count goes bigger. So yeah, I couldn't imagine Carey Mulligan really, you know, annihilating. Well, obviously how it ends is a little bit different, but yeah, this is Death Wish, and it's one of the most popular anti-classic revenge movies. I mean, obviously with your generation, as you know, this movie's old for you, little grandson. I know it's an old movie, but it's sort of modernish for me. But you know, oh well, you know, I'll put trailer on for and you can see how big it gets, you know, with the villains and that.
Kids looking for a new thrill.
Just like I promised.
Yeah, sure.
But this time the thrill went too far. Crack has claimed another victim. Dealers are making up their own rules, and no one is able to stop them. Somebody has got to crack down.
Who are you?
Death. Charles Bronson in the biggest death wish ever.
They have to be stopped, cousin.
Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.
Spent a small fortune buying information on the major drug dealers in Los Angeles.
I'll handle this my own way, no interference from you.
He's working to destroy the drug empire.
It's either him or us.
Now, Bronson is their target. The trap is set.
Here he comes.
The fuse is lit. Bronson is unleashed. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.
So you can imagine Carey Mulligan if she was like doing this sort of form of role of, if Promising Young Woman was like Death Wish, because believe it or not, grandson, it kept on going. There's a fifth one, so you can imagine the bad guys have even got to be even ultimately actually even bigger and more powerful, and you can tell that, you know, it started off as a simple revenge thing, but now it's got even bigger. This is how revenge might affect folk, or how they presume, or technically to get ratings, or, you know, to make another one, that it's got to get bigger. But times moved on though, and they went with a different approach. They did. Modelling. Check out the trailer if you don't believe me.
fashion. A new crime syndicate is taking over.
Peekaboo. I watched this guy coming up through the Irish gangs, and I was ruthless.
He's infiltrated every aspect of my industry.
Their methods are brutal.
Promise me that anything should happen to me, he'll take care of Chelsea.
Gone. The one thing they didn't count on was an enemy who wouldn't back down.
You know, these people, they steal, they murder, destroy people's lives, and get away with it. Percy's no amateur. You've got a problem.
Charles Bronson is back.
I'm coming for you, O'Shea.
And this time, he's not leaving until his wish is their command.
No judge, no jury, no appeal, and no deals. But the cops take these guys down. Sometimes the law works, and sometimes it doesn't. It's showtime. This is very... Where's the girl?
Charles Bronson.
Guns make you nervous?
Death Wish.
Very bizarre and interesting. I mean, obviously, if Promising Young Woman kept on going, a bit like Death Wish, it'd be a bit different, you know, like replacing the actress, you know, obviously it'd be like something like Margot Robbie, you know, the producers of Promising Young Woman, but obviously, to actually have the Mick taken out, you know, there could be a Death Wish 6, couldn't there, you know, but, you know, comical, I don't think there is, but there might be, but I don't know if there is or not, but funny enough, there could be a trailer out there with Death Wish 6, but as you all seen images of Margot Robbie, because obviously, you know, we're moving on out with Grandson, yeah, that was the producer for Promising Young Woman, but yeah, so if there was a trailer for Death Wish 6 and these revenge movies, I think might be something like this.
Death Wish. It's a film based on a true facts where a guy and his wife and they live in New York, and New York's horrible and violent, and something happens to his wife, she dies, and he wants revenge, and his friend gives him a firearm because he is the one and only Chaz Bernstein, and he goes out killing muggers for fun, and 'cause he's Chaz Bronson. And yes, Chaz Bronson's daughter, she's in hospital because something happened to her as well when her mum was murdered, and Chaz Bronson visits her, but he still wants to go out and play with that gun his friend gave him so he can kill more muggers in New York because he's the one and only Chaz Bronson. But the police don't like it because Chaz Bronson is having all the fun. So the police officer comes and tells him he's better go away from New York and don't come back because he's a naughty boy. So Chaz Bronson goes to the sequel of Chaz Bronson, Death Wish 2. Not 1, but 2. But it's just like the first one, so it's just a little bit different because it's filmed somewhere else, LA. but the problem doesn't go away. It's just the same as before. His daughter has an incident again, and actually in this one he has his real wife, and the difference is it must be cold in LA because he wears a woolly bully little hat on his head and has a different gun to shoot everyone because he's only one. It's Chaz Blunston. So we've got to move on to the third one, what's just like the first one and the second one. But that one is a lot different because it might be New York, but it was filmed in England, and you could tell. But who gives a hell? Because what about the bleeding fourth one? Yeah, the big one, the crackdown one, bigger than even the fifth one. But the fifth one, what the hell was that one? But yeah, we're moving on with the next one, the one and only, the big and only, yeah, with Chaz Blunston in Death Wish 6. And you won't believe what happens in this one. It's nothing like the first one. Well, near enough. It's not like the first one, but near enough to the second one. But yeah, it's just the same. But this time his new wife and his daughter, this time they go online on GTA 6. And you can guess what's gonna happen when his wife and his daughter play online. Yeah, some horrible teenagers or little kids kill them. So Chaz Brunson's gotta go online and sort them all out on GTA 6. And who said it was a little kid's game after all? But Chaz Brunson doesn't like the story mode of GTA 6 because you start off in prison and you don't start off with a gun.
Quite interesting to take the mick out of these own weird action movies, but fair enough though. Margot Robbie, yes, she might have been in these sort of movies, but by X she had the good fortune to be like, be the manager and the main producer for this movie, Promising Young Woman, as we're saying. And obviously the best person to talk more about that will be the one and only, not Margot Robbie, even it's but I'll let the director speak.
So no, so the way I write, which is I suppose sort of maybe slightly different, is that I don't write anything down really until it's completely finished in my head. So it usually takes me a couple of years to finish it completely, and then I'll write it down. And so for me, I was very lucky because I pitched it to Lucky Chap, who were just amazing, and I just pitched them the cold open, so that really culminating in that scene, and they bought it with no just off that. So then when I handed the movie into them, whenever it was, kind of 8 months later, I think, they were kind of reading it pretty cold too.
So that is quite interesting to find out the financing. Like Olivia Cox, what plays Cassie's boss, what actually knows that she's a bit more intelligent and brainier to work at a coffee shop. But why is she working there when obviously us audience know that she could have been a doctor? But yeah, interesting performance in the movie, but not much, but it does a lot, so that is quite interesting. So here's Olivia Cox talking about her part in the movie.
Gail is the manager of the coffee shop where Cassie works, and I am also one of Cassie's very best friends. So I'm her boss and I'm her friend, and I'm there kind of trying to push her into living more, into I'm not aware of the depths of what is really going on with her, and I think what Emerald says about this is that Cassie's really good at sort of lying and putting on a front, and so I don't know the depth of what's going on, but I sense something's going on, and that something's on. Does she sort of press pause on her life, and I want her to sort of press play and sort of get on with things. But I don't push overtly. I just make suggestions.
Don't worry, they explain more about the movie, because yes, there is a lot more to explain as well.
Gail, the character that I play in Promising Young Woman, functions really as Cassie's only friend in the trajectory of this narrative, a friend who's alive anyway. And so it's so important to give a sense of Cassie's, another side of Cassie, in terms of her dimensionality, in terms of her humor. It's interesting because Gail is there to support her, and as an actress, I really just want to support this film.
It's quite interesting knowing that Margot Robbie's acting is quite brazen and very interesting, but obviously there's more interesting things about Margot Robbie, about listening to the interviews, what she has done in the past, might make this interesting, little grandson.
The way she starts out her movie, she should go like this and then end kind of in the same place. The look is insane, and the hair and makeup was a real process. I mean, it was a 3-hour process every single day. We'd do the body paint, completely paint me white. Then there were 20 tattoos to put on and a wig, and then the makeup, and then whatever cuts and bruises, Harley had acquired by that point in the film. Harley's just so much fun to play.
I'll hear your version. I've never heard your version of the story, but tell people how we know each other.
How we met. I'm scared because my husband's going to kill me for telling this story, but it's my favorite story ever, and it's the story of how Ellen and I met. So Tom and I, my husband, were on our honeymoon, which we delayed because we shot I, Tonya at the beginning of the year and last year, and we had just gotten married, but we had to put off the honeymoon part, and so we go to Tahiti, and we'd gone to this island where you kind of live like Robinson Crusoe, like it's like there's just like a shack that you stay in, and there's no electricity, and there's no mirrors or anything like that. So we'd been there for 4 days, and then the last bit of the honeymoon was like a really nice hotel, like a really luxury. It was lovely, and so we get there, but it's raining, and we're like, oh, well, we by the way look disgusting because we haven't seen our own reflections in 4 days, and so we don't.
By the way, they did not.
We're like, oh, what can we do here when it's raining? And they're like, oh, there's a lovely spa, or there's the gym, and we're like, oh, I don't really want to work out, but I guess we could do like something at the gym. And so we get changed to go to the gym, and Tom puts on these shorts that are like his oldest gym shorts, and they're tiny, and they're like really short, and there's nothing underneath, so they're, he gets on his bicycle to ride there, and I was like, whoa! I was like, babe, I was like, you cannot wear those shorts, they're like, I can see everything. And he was like, oh, come on, who are we gonna run into? I mean, who's gonna be here? And I was like, you're right. I mean, we'd just been on an island where no one else was for so long, so I was like, yeah, you're right. I mean, who are we gonna see? And so we walk into the gym, and running on a treadmill is Ellen. And then on the treadmill next to her is Portia, her wife. So Ellen looks over and she was like, wait, and then? Wait, no. All right, go ahead. It's not even the best bit, but already Tom and I are like, oh my God. And Tom's face is like just gone white, and you're like, hi. And I was like, oh my gosh, Ellen, so lovely to meet you. And you're like, this is my wife, Portia. I was like, lovely to meet you, Portia. I was already starstruck. And then you're like, have you met Obama? And we were like, what? And standing next to them is former President Barack Obama. Tiny.
The gym was the size of this stage.
Like, even smaller. It was a very confined space. And we then had to do this whole, like...
Oh, my God.
We had to do this whole, like, class, like this stretching class. But Tom, meanwhile, is trying to, like, not reveal anything. and he's dying, and I'm crying so much I'm about to crack a rib. And it's literally this gym instructor keeps saying to Tom, lunge, not lunging. And Tom's like trying to lunge cross-legged, and Obama's like stepping over his legs to put his weights back, and like the whole thing was so absurd. It was
hilarious. I mean, when she says short shorts, they were, I'm not exaggerating, they were to here and wide, like really wide. So when he was lunging, we're like, it was, and then he's on the ground at one point and like stretching. And this part, we're like, oh my God, like
we literally got to the end of the class and we're doing like a last stretch, which was legs out. And Tom's now got a towel on his crutch, trying to be modest, and his face just says it all. He's like, I'm going to kill myself, the worst day of my life. And Helen looks over and goes, boy, those are the wrong shorts to wear today.
Oh my God. It was hilarious. And then, like 2 days later, we get laundry, and I start looking through it. I was like, this is the wrong, it's a small, there's only like 10 cabins.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is not our laundry. And then I come across pink shorts. I was like, oh, I know who's these. I got Tom's shorts. And no, I know where these go.
Oh my God.
But I mean, so Obama was, so he was there. He happened to be there writing his book. And so we were working out with him every day. And when you walked in, and he's in those shorts, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be hilarious. This is...
It was honestly one of the funniest things.
Yeah. But he's a huge fan of yours, Obama.
I obviously assumed that he would have no idea who I was, but when I walked in, you're like, oh, do you know Obama? I was like, no. I was like, hello, sir. I don't know what to call it. And he was like, hello, yeah. And he goes, you're a very talented actress. And I was like, oh my God, Obama knows who I am. And he's like, we were just talking about you the other night. I was like, you were? What?
Oh, you may think it's strange putting Margot Robbie on. I mean, it was quite funny to hear that story. And obviously, she is the, well, I would say, really, the big boss of this movie. She's, you know, the producer of the money and all that lot. It's a bit like Gail, isn't it? You know, the coffee shop owner, and she is the boss, and obviously well, she's quite interested in what other stuff she can say in the interviews. I mean, obviously to find out more of the character, because you don't see much of the character, so it's a bit more interviews.
Promising Young Woman feels like an event film to me. It feels like a film that you would go to maybe in a group, with a group of your girlfriends. I would love to go with my girlfriends to see this, and so it feels like something that you would make an appointment to go and see as a group and talk about it.
So the first time I saw Olivia Cox was on a very, very popular TV series, what might have made Netflix very popular, is Orange is the New Black, and obviously it's all based in a female prison. Obviously her brother, or technically, yeah, because she has a twin brother, and obviously it was a time where she had a sex change, and obviously it's focused on the story with that, and obviously, you know, but she's in a ladies' prison, and obviously there's some like interesting stories about it and all that lot. So yeah, let's listen to some more interviews.
I could not put the script down. I thought it was just brilliant and completely unexpected, and just it blew my mind, and I immediately thought, this is a really important film. This is a really important story that absolutely needs to be told. I've been wondering a lot about this particular historic moment that we're in, this reckoning that we're having around sexual assault, around Me Too, and what kind of art is going to come out of this moment. What does that art start to look like? And Emerald's script felt like the answer to that, to me, in a really very unexpected way.
So yeah, the acting's different, and obviously, you know, well known for, you know, like a dry wit type of comedy actress she is, but obviously explain how they thought about doing Promising Young Woman and how they think about the serious subject on the matter of this movie. You're thinking it does sort of work as well. Yes.
There's no way I could imagine this film having been written or even conceived of, 5 years ago. You can talk to Emerald about this, but I think this film feels like a direct response to this cultural moment that we're having, and a much needed one. I think that Tarana Burke, the founder of the Me Too movement, in her recent TED Talk contends that we're collectively traumatized by this reckoning, and I have personally felt that trauma. And what does the healing look like? And art can be that space of healing. There's something very cathartic to me about the way this film resolves itself. As tragic as it is, there is a sense of justice, I think, that I feel as a person who just read the script and who's now involved in the film. I feel a sense of justice at the end of this film, and I think so many of us just need that, because so often there is no justice at all.
So yes, a great performance of thinking about how she quotes that movie. I mean, obviously, out for justice, and yes, it's a bit like can remind you of a disappointment of a movie, a James Bond movie it was, called Diamonds Forever. That has some anticipation of thinking when James Bond was out there seeking revenge because of his wife's murder, and the movie doesn't stick to that subject for long. And these other movies what sort of go on a different path or have a different scale, like Sam Peckinpah with Straw Dogs. I mean, that is a movie what has a different perspective, or actually gets you a little bit more confused maybe. I mean, this could be why that people may stick to that format of that typical type of film. It's a revenge, but it rhymes with the other bit. Well, we'll say it rhymes with vaping, right? Because obviously, but it's on about that subject, and obviously there's been so many other movies what have a different form of a typical stereotype. It's trying to keep it simple, because when you try to make something a little bit complex, like Straw Dogs, it seems to work and some people like it, but I really personally think that this movie has a different way of doing it, and then explaining it is very hard. If you see the movie, you can really make your own things, thinking, yeah, you can understand how maybe Emerald Fennell was thinking about. Yeah, there's a lot of these movies what make comedy out of the situation, and then you go to a serious, you get these vaping revenge movies. I mean, and it's just a typical, like how would you class it? A horror movie more than a thriller, and when they're seeking revenge and the body count goes up, and it just seems to be a massacre, and I think that's the idea. These movies just stick to this formula, and obviously Promising Young Woman might be classed as, oh yeah, it's one of the best revenge movies, and technically it has its own separate category, because really these movies are just a bit stupid, I would say, grandson, aren't they? And a bit comical, and they're not meant to be comical, but obviously, no consideration for victims or anything. It's just, yeah, that's it. Just straight out for murder, isn't it? And yeah, it is very, very, very complicated. Not meaning this movie's complicated, but yeah, as you noticed, it was quite interesting, wasn't it, little grandson? And I think, yeah, it's quite enjoyable, and now you can understand why it might have won an Oscar. And for your first movie, for someone out there, it's not too bad, is it? And yeah. There is a lot of typical stereotype of these movies, as I'm illustrating here or showing, images that, you might have noticed something about, yes, this subject has that appeal of showing, that, yeah, it's always like a female usually that and it looks quite a bit glamorous for a form of a revenge and very topical image you may get from a type of movie like that. And I think sometimes, I might be just me getting a little bit confused how it is, because TV soaps have actually hit this subject, and they sort of glamorize something, like you can see in the images. It's always somebody, like maybe in makeup and stuff, and they always got these like images of like legs showing or stuff like that. And it's very strange to get that opinion, it's that type of film. But obviously some of these covers might give you, it catches your eye, but does it say what for? Because obviously even, this one's got an interesting cover, but obviously, I'm just having a look through all the other images you get from these movies, and it has that same format, as I could say. And some are good, some have a different way of telling that story, or some just stick to a typical stereotype. But it all comes down to revenge and killing and massacres and stuff, and because it's from the old school style of movies, and that format is still there, and they're still producing these type of movies. And obviously you get like a little like Emerald Fennell's made out, she's had a different approach on it, and it seemed to work, and it's not a bad idea. And we can go through all this for ages and ages, and studying all these movies you can easily see and stuff. But technically, it will always carry on, and obviously I think technically this is one of the best ones, and obviously, as we all know, that is it classed in that category? But if you want to call it a revenge vaping movie, yeah, we could put it in that list. But yeah, there's a lot more variety, and obviously me saying all this, it's quite interesting, and yes, but it's I think really, grandson, I think I'm best leaving it at that, and say farewell to the next movie we're going to watch. What do you think, little grandson? Because there's so many of these films, and I'm not too sure to watch more of these with you. So I'll say bye for now then, grandson. Okay.